Hi everybody, Carol Kurivial here. And if you've been following us at all this week, you know we've been talking about how art and faith go together, and we're always meant to. So I've been trying to encourage you all to think about what your own creative art forms are and how you might use them to glorify God and further the kingdom, and to even put yourself more in the presence of God. So I was thinking about my own art forms, and I know that one of the things that I like to do that I think is of a creative nature that I hope will be used to glorify God and build the kingdom is that I like to make cards, and I send a lot of cards to hopefully encourage people and to help people stay inspired, because life is tough, and it's tough a lot, and we all are struggling with something or other. You know, as Rick Warren says, we're either in the middle of a crisis, just coming out of one, or about to go into one. And that may sound kind of oppressive, but the fact remains that life was never meant to be easy on this side of the gate. That's what heaven's for. I have a phrase I use a lot, and this is a Carol Kurivial original. Many of you who know me have heard it. We ain't in heaven yet, and until we is, we ain't. Anyhow, that's another reason why creativity is so important, because I think it helps to lift our spirits, and it helps to get us through those tough moments and tough days and tough seasons of our lives. So another reason to really explore your own creative juices and to figure out what you might be able to do to glorify God. Anyhow, one of the things that I like to do is make cards, as I said, and I just made some the other day. Here's one of my cards, and here's another one that can be turned either way. And here's one that's balloons. I also make cards for the ministry, and these can be found on our webpage and also in our Etsy shop. So we have a bunch of different cards. Some of them are blank on the inside. Here's an example of one of our cards. This is Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. And then I have the very same card with a different verse, which is 1 Corinthians 13:13, and that is, of course, and now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Here are a few more. I'll just kind of breeze through these very quickly. Some of these are prayer cards, and some of them are blank on the inside. This is just a cross blank, and some of them are spiritual bouquets, where they actually give you the opportunity to put a person's name that you're praying for and who's doing the praying, you or your family. And these are some prayers below. These are Catholic prayers, and you can pray those prayers as a gift to whoever you send the card to, which we think is a beautiful thing, and it's actually been around for a long, long time, and that's called a spiritual bouquet. Here's another one, and that comes both blank and with the prayers on the inside. Here's another, and here's a tree. Anyhow, I have a whole bunch of these, and like I said, you can check those out on our webpage or by going to our Etsy shop. But today, I thought it would be kind of fun to show you my latest idea of something I want to do to make a card. So I'm kind of famous or infamous, if you want to call it that, for just like I'll be driving along and I'll see a garage sale. Like if I happen to see a garage sale as I'm driving along, I'll stop and see, you know, what kinds of treasures I might find. So I took this rug and I cut it into little rectangles like this. And I'm going to take a piece of paper like this. And I tend to try to find a nicer grade paper that has texture on it. And I fold it and seal it. Then I take the piece of rug that I cut. Shh. We won't tell anyone I did that. And I'm going to take some rubber cement, and I'm going to put it on one side of the piece. But here we've got rubber cement, and we're going to place this down on the card, and we're going to flatten it so that it looks like this. And that was just the edge of the rug, so we have some fringe going on there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into my little journals. So I'm going to show you, I have journals. I keep them in a basket. And here's some of my journals, and they're just little things, but they all have a title. So one of them here is homilies. These are homilies that I took notes on. And here, this one is just filled with prayers that I thought were very creative. And then this one's all about how you can make Jesus more real. And this one is about scripture. And it's all about scripture that I particularly gravitate to. So, this one is Proverbs. I've just opened up to the very first page, the very first scripture, and it says Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. With closest custody, guard your heart, for in it are the sources of life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take like a calligraphy pen, and I'm going to write that scripture verse along here, right down to there, and then, then I'll send it to somebody who I might use that actual scripture verse for, say, a graduate, because guard your heart as they go off into the next chapter of their lives. They need to be reminded that it's going to be very important to guard their heart. So anyhow, I thought I would just share with you today one of my art forms that I feel helps bring me closer to Christ, because when I'm actually making cards, I tend to think about God a lot, and I put him in my presence, and I kind of lose all sense of time because I'm so engrossed in what I'm doing, because it's something that I'm really passionate about and I love doing it. And so I think that you also have things that you're passionate about and that you love doing that are of an artistic nature. And I encourage you to just be intentional about taking the time to dig into the art forms in your life and find a way to connect them to your faith. I know that if you do that, you will be blessed. Have a great day. Take care.